The stars stretched endlessly beyond the hull of the Vigilant, each one a point of light in the darkness, distant but not unreachable. Captain Elias Kane sat in the command room of the ship, his hands clasped together, eyes focused on the data screens before him. Reports from Lyra 7 had been compiled, but the patterns of the Zephyrian attacks were puzzling. They were fast, precise, and oddly organized, as if each strike was designed to test human reaction. Admiral Moreno, Kane's superior, leaned against a console. "Captain, these attacks, they aren't just random. They're deliberate. The Zephyrians aren't trying to take territory yet. They're trying to see what we can do." Kane nodded. "I've seen this before. The better the enemy thinks they are, the more predictable they become. We can use that." The Admiral's eyes flickered with concern. "And the colonies?" "More attacks are expected. Our forces are spread thin. Kane, we need you in the field again. Your presence changes everything." Kane remained quiet for a moment. Years of training cadets and serving in safer zones had made him think that war belonged in the past, not in his present. But the call was undeniable. Humans were being tested, and they needed someone who could think ahead, anticipate, and adapt, someone like him. He finally spoke. "Send me a small team. We move fast, strike precisely, and avoid unnecessary risk. No one else will be in danger if we can help it." Moreno nodded. "Understood. Prepare yourself, Captain, and be careful. They're learning. Every move we make is being watched." Kane didn't answer. He already knew that. Far across the galaxy, in the glittering halls of the Zephyrian homeworld, the Queen's many eyes blinked in unison as reports streamed in. Her court of generals and advisors surrounded her, each reporting on recent skirmishes against the humans. Her attention, however, was fixed on a single phrase repeated in every report: Elias Kane. "Speak the name again," she demanded, her voice like the hum of distant energy. A trembling advisor repeated the words. "Captain, Elias Kane. He led the defense of Lyra 7. He orchestrated the destruction of our scouts. No other human has ever done so with such precision." The Queen paused. Her energy field pulsed slightly, as though the mere mention of the name had touched a nerve she had not felt in decades. "He is different," she said quietly. Her generals exchanged uneasy glances. "Your Majesty," one began cautiously, "we have never seen a human soldier with such capability. Our scouts fear him. Our fleet hesitates when his name is reported. Perhaps we should withdraw." The Queen's gaze sharpened. "Withdraw?" Her voice was icy, commanding. "We do not flee from mortals, but this human..." She did not finish her sentence. For the first time, she was unsure. The humans were clever, yes, but one human soldier, one name whispered across battlefields and colonies, and already the balance of power was questioned. Meanwhile, Kane prepared his strike team. They were small, elite, hand-picked soldiers who could move swiftly, improvise, and endure anything. Each member trusted Kane completely, following his decisions without hesitation. The mission was clear. Infiltrate a Zephyrian supply station on the edge of uncharted space, disable it, and gather intelligence. But Kane knew it would not be simple. The Zephyrians were cunning, their technology advanced. They adapted quickly. Yet human creativity and intuition were unpredictable, and that unpredictability was a weapon. The team navigated through asteroid fields using debris to mask their movements. When they arrived at the Zephyrian station, Kane observed the patrols, the patterns, the timing of their defenses. "They are good," he murmured to his second-in-command, "but they are not humans. They follow routines. They do not imagine the unexpected." They moved under the cover of darkness, disabling sensors and cameras without triggering alarms. Kane led them with precise instructions. Step here, wait there, move fast, and when the time comes, strike. Inside the station, they discovered Zephyrian technology beyond what Earth scientists had imagined. Machines capable of altering gravity, energy shields that bent light, weapons that fired beams of focused energy with pinpoint accuracy. Kane studied them carefully. "This is advanced, yes, but they rely too heavily on systems," he said. "We rely on brains, and brains can do things machines cannot predict." The team planted small charges at critical points, carefully set to destroy infrastructure but leave prisoners unharmed. As they prepared to leave, alarms suddenly blared. Zephyrian soldiers had discovered them. Kane reacted instantly. "Move, follow my lead." The team split into coordinated paths. Kane led a small group down a maintenance corridor, using knowledge of alien designs and human intuition to evade capture. They triggered preset traps, causing explosions and confusion that allowed them to escape. Outside, their ship waited, engines humming softly. The team boarded and Kane gave the command to leave. As they jumped into hyperspace, he allowed himself a small smile. Humans had done what the Zephyrians believed impossible. They had struck directly at the heart of their operations and escaped unscathed. Back on the Zephyrian homeworld, the Queen received the reports. Her many eyes scanned the battle logs, her energy field pulsing faster than normal. Every data point told the same story. Wherever Kane appeared, disasters struck the Zephyrians. Systems were outsmarted, strategies overturned, soldiers confused and demoralized. The court whispered nervously, "Your Majesty, the humans, they cannot be." "They are one soldier." She paused, her thoughts racing. One human? She had faced hundreds of alien leaders, thousands of battles, yet the impact of a single human soldier unsettled her. She felt it in her energy field, in the subtle vibrations of her psychic network. She had always known humans were dangerous, clever, but this was beyond expectation. For the first time, the Queen considered a pause in her expansion. She needed to understand this human. She needed to know why one name carried so much weight across so many systems. And she realized, if she underestimated him, the consequences could be catastrophic. Kane, unaware of the stir he had caused in alien courts, focused on the next steps. He returned to Lyra 7 to assess the damage and reassure the colonists. Children watched from behind walls as he moved through the streets, speaking with calm authority, helping rebuild, and showing that humans could endure anything. The colonists whispered to each other, "He's the one." The stories were true. Kane overheard, but he ignored the praise. Reputation was not what mattered. Lives were what mattered. Every decision he made was for the survival of the people around him, and the knowledge that humans could face overwhelming odds and survive. But even as he rebuilt, he could sense a change. The attacks were slowing, not because the Zephyrians were weak, but because they were observing. They were learning, adapting, and respecting the unpredictable nature of humans. He gathered his team. They're watching. Every move we make is being noticed. But that's good. It means we control the narrative. Humans survive not by waiting for attacks, but by thinking ahead. Always ahead. That's what makes us strong. His second-in-command nodded. "Sir, do you think they fear you?" Kane smiled faintly. "Fear? Maybe, but more than that, they respect what humans can do when we refuse to give up. That's what matters." Meanwhile, the Queen convened a private council. "We must understand him," she said. "Elias Kane is unlike any human I have studied. He does not follow patterns. He anticipates, he adapts, and the mere whisper of his name affects my forces." Her advisors were uneasy. "Majesty, what do you propose?" "He is only one man." The Queen's gaze hardened. "One man can be the turning point of history. We cannot ignore him. We must study him, observe him, and prepare, for if he leads humans against us directly, the outcome could be unpredictable." For the first time, the Zephyrian Queen felt uncertainty. Not about technology, not about strategy, but about one human, one soldier whose actions had already begun to change the course of battles. On Lyra 7, Kane looked at the stars that evening, a small campfire flickering near the mining settlement. Colonists had begun to rebuild, and children played among the rocks laughing, learning that the frontier was not just a place of danger, it was a place where humans thrived. Kane's thoughts drifted. He did not seek glory. He did not seek legend. But he understood one thing clearly. Humans, when united, when creative, when brave, could face anything. And this Zephyrian threat, no matter how advanced, no matter how frightening, would learn that truth soon enough. Far across the galaxy, the whisper of his name continued to travel. Among humans, it inspired courage. Among aliens, it inspired fear. And something stranger, respect. And so, the story of Elias Kane, the human soldier whose name could change the course of wars, began to spread, carried by whispers, reports, and memories of those who had seen him in action. The frontier was alive with stories, and one truth became clear. Wherever humans went, wherever Elias Kane went, the impossible could be achieved. The stars waited, and so did the humans. The universe stretched before Captain Elias Kane like an endless ocean of stars. Every system, every planet, every asteroid field held possibilities, some dangerous, some promising, and some unknown. Kane sat in the command chair of the Vigilant, studying a star map. The latest intelligence reports had revealed the location of a Zephyrian research station hidden deep in uncharted space. It was said to hold secrets that could change the course of the war. Captain, his second-in-command, Lieutenant Mara Keen said, pointing at the holographic map, "This station is in the Vorath Nebula. It's surrounded by debris fields and ion storms. Any mistake could mean total destruction." Kane didn't flinch. "Exactly why we're going there," he said calmly. "The Zephyrians think humans cannot survive in extreme conditions. They underestimate us. That's why we always have the advantage." The team prepared for the journey. Every member of Kane's squad knew that survival depended not only on skill, but on adaptability. Weapons were checked, shields reinforced, and contingency plans discussed. Kane moved among them, offering quiet instructions and words of encouragement. Each soldier trusted him. Because he did not merely lead, he guided with intelligence, foresight, and an unwavering calm that steadied nerves even in the most dangerous situations. The Vigilant entered the Vorath Nebula, navigating through a maze of rocky debris and swirling ion clouds. Lightning-like energy arcs danced among the floating stones, threatening to disable the ship's systems. Kane's hands moved quickly across the controls, adjusting shields and rerouting power. "Steady," he murmured. "Humans survive where others fail. Every obstacle is a tool if you know how to use it." The squad sensors picked up movement. Zephyrian patrol drones, sleek and dark, circled the area. Kane observed them carefully. "They are testing us," he said. "They want to see if we panic." "We don't." Using the nebula's chaos as cover, Kane's team slipped past the patrols. They infiltrated the research station, a massive structure floating like a dark crystal in space. Inside, they encountered technology far beyond human designs. Energy shields that bent light, gravity fields that shifted at will, and weapons that could tear through metal as if it were paper. Kane studied it all, not with fear but with curiosity. He always believed that understanding the enemy was as important as defeating them. "Every machine has a pattern," he told his team. "Every system has a flaw. We find it and we use it." The station's corridors were silent except for the soft hum of energy and the occasional click of Zephyrian patrols. Kane led the team with precision. Every step was planned yet flexible. Every decision was deliberate yet adaptive. They discovered a holding area with humans who had been captured by the Zephyrians during earlier raids. Eyes wide with relief, the prisoners stared at Kane and his soldiers. Kane knelt beside one young woman. "You're safe now," he said. "Follow us quietly and no harm will come to you." As they guided the captives toward their extraction point, alarms suddenly blared. Zephyrian soldiers had discovered the intrusion. Kane's mind raced. He had anticipated the possibility, and his plan was already in motion. "Split into pairs," he commanded. "Distract them. Lead them into the corridors marked for traps. We move fast, we move smart, and we leave no one behind." The corridors erupted in controlled chaos. Explosions and flashing lights diverted the enemy. Kane's team used the station's own technology against it, activating energy fields to trap Zephyrian soldiers temporarily. Every move was precise, every action calculated to maximize effect and minimize risk to civilians. Outside, the Vigilant hovered in orbit, waiting. Kane and his team, along with the freed prisoners, rushed through emergency exits and launched into space. Using the nebula's ion storms as cover, the ship slipped away undetected, leaving the research station in confusion and partial destruction. In the quiet after the mission, Kane gathered his team. "This is why humans endure," he said. "We adapt. We improvise. We survive. We don't just fight with weapons, we fight with minds, with courage, with creativity. That is our strength," Lieutenant Keen smiled. "Sir, the Zephyrians—" "They've never seen humans like this. Reports say your name alone causes fear among their ranks." Kane's expression was calm but serious. "I don't fight for fear. I fight for survival, for protection, for what is right. If my name carries weight, let it carry it for the right reasons." Far across the galaxy, the Zephyrian queen studied the reports. Her many eyes narrowed. "Elias Kane, he is everywhere," she whispered. "Every time he appears, disaster follows. My fleets hesitate. My plans fail, his name. It travels like a shadow through the stars. Her advisors were uneasy. Majesty, we cannot underestimate him. He is only one human, yet his impact is extraordinary. The Queen's energy field pulsed faster. He is not just a soldier, she said. He is a force of unpredictability, and unpredictability cannot be calculated, cannot be contained. Prepare defenses, but also observe. We must understand him fully before making our next move. Her advisors nodded, though fear and respect lingered in their expressions. The Zephyrians were strong, disciplined, and intelligent, but humans, led by Kane, had proven to be more than they expected. Back on the Vigilant, Kane and his team analyzed the intelligence gathered from the station. Zephyrian technology was advanced, but it had weaknesses, and Kane's mind worked faster than any algorithm. Every weapon system, every shield, every patrol pattern was cataloged, studied, and understood. They rely too heavily on systems, Kane said. Machines are predictable. Humans are not. That is the advantage we hold. We must always think 2 steps ahead and sometimes 3. Anticipate, adapt, and act. His team listened closely, absorbing every word. Kane didn't just lead. He taught even in the midst of operations. Every lesson was practical, every insight life-saving. They fear our unpredictability, he continued. Not because we are stronger, they are stronger in numbers and tech, but because we refuse to be predictable. That is our edge, and that edge will carry us forward. The mission's success spread quickly among human colonies. Stories of Kane's daring strike against the Zephyrian station circulated from system to system. His name became more than a label, it became a symbol. To humans, it inspired courage. To Zephyrians, it stirred fear and uncertainty. Even the Queen felt the ripple of his actions. She could not ignore him. Each report, each analysis, each whisper of his name reminded her that humans were not easily controlled, that one soldier could alter the balance of power across systems. She summoned her council. We have underestimated humans, she said. Elias Kane is more than a soldier. He is a catalyst. We must learn his methods, his tactics, and prepare for when he returns. Her advisors spoke quietly among themselves. Majesty, he is still only one human. Surely we can overcome him. The Queen's eyes narrowed. One human can inspire many. And when humans are inspired, they achieve what no machine, no army, no plan can stop. That is why we must treat him as a threat, not just a soldier. Kane, back on the Vigilant, gazed out at the stars once more. Each system was a new challenge, each planet a new opportunity. Humans had survived impossible odds before, and they would do so again. We are more than weapons, he told his team. We are adaptable. We are clever. We are relentless. And wherever we go, wherever we fight, we will endure. The team nodded, renewed determination in their eyes. They had seen Kane in action, and they knew that survival was not luck, it was skill, preparation, and the refusal to surrender. The universe was vast and threats would come, but Kane understood something fundamental. Humans thrived in the impossible. They could face anything because they did not give up, they did not bow, and they did not follow predictable paths. And somewhere, far away, the Zephyrian Queen continued to study his name. The sound of it in her records made her pause. The ripple of it across her networks unsettled her, and the thought of him leading humans against her fleets made her reconsider plans she had made for decades. Elias Kane was no longer just a soldier. He was a force that could not be ignored, a shadow across the stars, a symbol of what humans could achieve when courage met intelligence. The frontier awaited, and Kane, as always, was ready. The Zephyrian homeworld loomed before Captain Elias Kane like a jewel in the void of space. Its surface glittered with crystalline cities and towers that rose far above the clouds, catching the light of its twin suns. Massive orbital defenses rotated slowly around the planet, shimmering shields glowing against the dark canvas of space. Every system Kane had studied, every plan he had made, led to this moment. This is it, Kane said, his voice calm but firm. Our target is the heart of their network. The Zephyrian Queen rules from there, and we're going to show her humans are not a species to be underestimated. Lieutenant Marakeen glanced at the planetary defenses. Captain, these shields are unlike anything we've seen. One wrong move and we'll be trapped in orbit. The fleet would never make it through intact. Kane's eyes narrowed as he studied the defenses. Then we don't attack them head on. We use what they cannot predict. His team spread out across the ship, preparing for the operation. Every soldier knew their role. Every move had been planned but kept flexible. Kane's philosophy was simple: adapt, improvise, and act decisively. That was human strength. The UESC fleet approached the Zephyrian planet in silent formation, cloaked by a dense asteroid field that Kane had carefully charted. Enemy sensors scanned the area, but the fleet's movement was subtle, almost ghost-like. The Zephyrians noticed anomalies in their readings, and alarms sounded across their orbital networks. On the surface, the Zephyrian queen observed the approaching fleet. Her energy field shimmered around her, reflecting the crystalline towers of her palace. Advisors and generals crowded around her, bringing reports of the human soldiers' progress. Every whisper carried the weight of caution, every signal of Kane's fleet a warning. "Captain Kane," the queen said, her voice resonant, calm but commanding. "He is at our doorstep. He has crossed every defense we set. He moves with precision, but unpredictability unnerves me." Her generals exchanged uneasy looks. "Majesty, the humans have never been this coordinated. They move as one, yet each individual acts with intuition. No plan of ours has succeeded fully against him." The queen's many eyes narrowed. "Prepare the palace defenses," she commanded. "But be ready. Observe him, understand him, and when he comes, do not underestimate him." In orbit, Kane's fleet made its move. Using a combination of stealth maneuvers, timing, and the chaos of the asteroid field, small human strike teams infiltrated the outer defenses. Kane personally led a small elite group aboard the flagship, moving toward the planet's surface. They faced Zephyrian patrols, energy barriers, and defensive drones, but Kane's team adapted to every obstacle. He had studied the Zephyrian tactics in detail. He knew their reliance on systems left them vulnerable to human intuition. Where the enemy expected rigidity, they found unpredictability. As the team approached the palace, Kane paused to observe the structure. Massive crystalline towers spiraled skyward, connected by shimmering bridges of energy. The queen's presence was everywhere, her psychic network spreading across the city, sensing threats and coordinating defenses. Kane's eyes narrowed. "She is powerful," he said softly, "but humans have something she cannot calculate: imagination." Inside the palace, the queen sensed movement. Her energy field pulsed with intensity as she directed the defenses, sending waves of psychic energy to her soldiers. Her eyes flickered, watching the movements of Kane and his team through her network. "They are bold," she whispered. "They move like shadows, yet strike like lightning. This human, he is unlike any opponent I have faced." Her generals urged caution. "Majesty, we should crush them before they reach the inner halls. They are small, yes, but they are clever. A direct assault could be dangerous." The queen shook her head. "I do not need to destroy them. I need to understand them. If he reaches me, I will see what makes humans remarkable." Kane and his team navigated the inner defenses with precision. Energy barriers bent around them, but human technology, combined with intuition, allowed them to slip past undetected. When they finally reached the throne room, they found the queen waiting, her presence overwhelming. Her energy radiated through the crystalline walls, a visible aura of power and authority. "You have come far, human," she said, her many eyes fixed on Kane. "Yet you are far from victory. What is it you seek?" Kane stepped forward, calm and steady. "Majesty, we do not come to conquer. We do not come to destroy. We come to show that humans will not bow. We will defend our species, our colonies, and our people. If peace is possible, we will take it. But if war comes, we will endure and survive." The queen studied him, her psychic senses reaching into his mind, trying to measure his intentions, his courage, his strategy. She sensed something unusual: confidence, calmness, and fearlessness, yet no arrogance. He did not seek power over her. He sought understanding, protection, and justice. Around them, the palace shimmered with energy defenses. Kane's team remained alert, ready for any attack, yet Kane himself spoke with a quiet authority. "We are not here to be your enemies," he said. "We are here because survival is worth fighting for, and we will fight smart, fair, and with honor. That is what humans do." For the first time in centuries, the Zephyrian queen faltered. Her advisors had never seen her pause like this. She had faced countless species across galaxies, each battle calculated, each conquest methodical. But this human, he was different. He did not follow expectations. He did not seek personal gain. He simply acted with purpose, courage, and intelligence. When the name Elias Kane was spoken among her psychic network, it caused a ripple across her consciousness. Reports of his victories, his clever strategies, his survival against impossible odds, they all reached her simultaneously. The name was not just a label, it was a symbol. She realized then that humans were not merely another species to conquer. They were unpredictable, clever, resilient, and one soldier could inspire an entire species to endure, to adapt, and to survive. Kane continued, his voice steady. "We do not wish to fight unnecessarily, but if you attempt to destroy us or our people, we will respond with everything we have, and we will endure. That is the human way." The queen's energy pulsed, her presence filling the hall. She did not speak for several long moments. Then, she said quietly, almost to herself, "You are unlike anything I have faced. I do not know if I should strike you down or learn from you." Her generals whispered among themselves, but the queen raised a hand. "Stand down. Observe. Let us see what this human does next. He may hold the key to understanding the unpredictable nature of our enemy." Kane nodded subtly, understanding that the confrontation had already shifted the balance. He did not need to fight her to win respect. His actions, his calm, and his courage had already made a mark. Outside the palace, the Zephyrian fleets hesitated. Kane's presence, combined with the daring of the human strike teams, had created confusion and awe. Soldiers whispered the name, passing it through ranks like a legend. Elias Kane, the human soldier. He is here, and somewhere deep. In her consciousness, the queen realized the truth. One human, guided by courage and intelligence, could challenge even the most powerful empire. She had never faced a species like humans. One soldier could shift the outcome of entire wars. Kane, unaware of the full impact he had made, prepared to withdraw. His mission was not complete, but he had achieved what he had intended. The queen had noticed the legend had grown, and humans had proven that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could face even the most overwhelming power. He turned to his team. "We leave now. Our goal was not destruction, but understanding, and we've shown them that humans do not bow. That is victory enough for today." The team moved quickly and silently, exiting the palace and returning to their ship. Kane watched the crystalline city below, knowing that this confrontation had changed the perception of humans forever. Far above the planet, the queen remained still. The name, Elias Kane, echoed in her mind. She had faced countless threats, yet the weight of one human's reputation had unsettled her more than any battle before. It was not fear alone. It was respect. Humans were extraordinary, unpredictable, and unstoppable when they refused to bow. For the first time, the queen considered negotiation, observation, and understanding rather than conquest. Kane had not won by force. He had won by demonstrating human ingenuity, courage, and unyielding spirit. The frontier had changed. Kane had changed it. And across the stars his name continued to spread, a symbol of hope, courage, and the unstoppable human spirit. The queen remained silent, the energy around her pulsing slowly, thoughtfully. Elias Kane had come. And in that moment, the galaxy began to understand what humans could achieve when led by someone extraordinary. The stage was set for the final chapter. The stars above the Zephyrian homeworld were calm now, but the energy of the planet beneath seemed almost alive. The crystalline towers glimmered in the twin suns, their light reflecting across the surface like a web of brilliant fire. Captain Elias Kane and his team had withdrawn from the palace, but the impact of their mission echoed throughout the planet, through its fleets, and within the mind of the Zephyrian queen herself. Kane stood on the bridge of the Vigilant looking at the world below. He did not feel victorious in the way one might after a battle won. He felt a deep, quiet satisfaction. Humans had not simply survived. They had made a mark that could not be erased. "Captain," Lieutenant Marakeen said softly, "the Queen, she's not attacking. Our fleet reports that her forces are holding back." "She's considering something," Kane nodded. "Good, that's what I hoped. Humans are not here to destroy for the sake of power. We are here to survive, to protect, and to show that peace is worth fighting for. If she sees that, perhaps we have a chance to avoid endless war." The fleet remained on high alert, scanning for any sign of aggression, yet no attack came. Slowly, messages arrived through secure channels from the Queen herself. They were careful, precise, and almost hesitant, a sign of respect, perhaps, or curiosity. Kane read them aloud to his officers. "She requests a meeting," he said. "Direct, on her terms. We go as a demonstration, not an assault." The journey to the Zephyrian palace was tense. Kane's team prepared for every possible contingency, but Kane spoke calmly, instilling confidence in everyone. "We are not going to fight," he reminded them. "We are going to show them who we are. Strength, yes, but also wisdom. Courage, yes, but also respect. That is what humans do best." When they arrived, the Queen awaited them in her throne room. Her energy radiated power, but there was a new quality in her presence: contemplation. Kane stepped forward, hands relaxed but his posture firm. "Captain Kane," the Queen said, her voice echoing in the crystalline hall, "you have done what no other human has done. You have survived, adapted, and reached the heart of my domain. Yet you seek no conquest, you seek understanding." Kane bowed slightly. "Majesty, humans survive because we value life, because we value freedom. We defend our people, our colonies, and our future. We will fight when we must, but we will also seek peace wherever possible. That is what makes us strong." The Queen's many eyes blinked slowly. She had studied him, measured him, and found no deception. "You are extraordinary," she admitted. "Your presence, your actions, even your name, carries power across your species, and among my own it inspires caution. Perhaps it deserves respect." Outside the palace, Zephyrian soldiers and commanders whispered his name in awe. "Elias Kane," they said. "The human soldier. He came to our homeworld and left without bloodshed. His mind, his strategy, he is unlike any opponent we have faced." The Queen had made a decision. She would offer a truce not as a sign of weakness, but as a recognition that humans were a species worthy of respect. "The humans will not be conquered," she declared to her council. "They survive because they refuse to be predictable. One soldier has shown us that, perhaps. It is time to learn from this rather than fight endlessly." Back aboard the Vigilant, Kane addressed his team. "We've achieved more than we expected," he said. "We have shown that humans are clever, adaptable, and unyielding. The Zephyrians respect that. But remember, this is just the beginning. Humans will always face challenges, but they will endure. That is our legacy." The team cheered quietly, proud of their accomplishments. They had not only completed the mission, but they had also made a mark that would be remembered across stars and species. Kane looked out at the Zephyrian homeworld, feeling a quiet sense of triumph. Not through violence, but through courage, intelligence, and moral strength, humans had proven themselves. Over the following weeks, a fragile truce formed between humans and Zephyrians. Trade routes reopened, prisoners were freed, and communication channels were established for peaceful dialogue. Kane oversaw the negotiations, ensuring that humans maintained their principles while securing safety for their colonies. In distant human settlements, news of Kane's mission spread like wildfire. Stories were told of his ingenuity, his calm leadership, and the daring missions that had reached the very heart of Zephyrian space. Children learned his name alongside legends of humanity's greatest achievements. Colonists whispered it with awe. Elias Kane, the human soldier who faced the alien queen and survived. Even Zephyrian soldiers told each other the story in quiet tones, not as a warning, but as a testament to the unpredictability of humans. One name, whispered in confidence, had altered the perception of an entire species. On the Zephyrian homeworld, the Queen reflected on what she had learned. Humans were unlike any species she had encountered. Their strength lay not in sheer numbers or technology alone, but in courage, intelligence, creativity, and the will to endure. Kane had shown her that one human could embody all these qualities, and that one soldier could change the outcome of entire conflicts. For the first time, she considered cooperation rather than domination. She sent a formal message to Kane. You and your species have shown qualities worth respecting. Let us work together, and perhaps together we can face the challenges of this galaxy without needless war. Kane read the message to his team. This is what happens when humans stand firm, but also when we act with integrity, he said. Our courage, our intelligence, and our choices matter. That is the human way. Life slowly returned to normal for humans and Zephyrians alike. Kane returned to his duties on Earth, teaching new cadets, guiding new leaders, and continuing to prepare humanity for the unknown dangers of the galaxy. But he carried with him the quiet knowledge that humans were no longer just survivors. They were respected, even feared for what they could achieve when they refused to bow. Colonists told tales of his actions. Zephyrians whispered his name with a mix of respect and caution, and the legend of Elias Kane grew. He had become more than a soldier. He had become a symbol of the human spirit, a reminder that courage, intelligence, and integrity could overcome even the greatest odds. In quiet moments, Kane would look at the stars, thinking of the frontier and the endless possibilities it held. Humans had proven themselves capable of surviving anything the galaxy could throw at them, not through strength alone, but through ingenuity, adaptability, and unyielding spirit. And across the stars, his name traveled. Among humans, it inspired hope. Among aliens, it inspired respect. The story of Elias Kane, the human soldier who had reached the heart of the Zephyrian Empire and stood unbowed, became legend. The frontier was no longer a place of fear. It was a proving ground, a place where humans could test themselves, grow stronger, and show that the impossible was always possible when faced with courage and determination. Somewhere far across the galaxy, a Zephyrian soldier whispered the name once more, Elias Kane, and the Queen herself went still, because a single human soldier had changed the course of history, and humanity, through courage, intelligence, and unyielding spirit, had earned its place among the stars. Lyra had never imagined herself standing in a grand hall, dressed in ceremonial robes that shimmered like liquid silver. She was a warrior of the Zalrith, an advanced alien species known across the galaxy for their intellect, strength, and unmatched discipline. Wars, diplomacy, strategy, these were the elements of her life. Love had no place in it. Yet here she was, bound by duty to wed a human. The galaxy had been on the brink of war. The Zalrith and the Theran, a fierce neighboring species, had been locked in a decade-long conflict over a disputed system. Neither side could claim victory. Entire fleets had been destroyed, worlds left in ruin, and now the elders of both civilizations had decided the only way to end the war was through a union, a symbolic marriage meant to bring peace. Ilara's human mate, Kale, stood quietly at the center of the hall. He looked so ordinary, so unassuming in his dark suit. His brown eyes were calm, almost soft, and he wore a polite, almost shy smile. He did not radiate strength or command presence like Zalrith warriors. Lyra glanced at him and felt a flicker of doubt. How could this human possibly be worthy of this task? She wondered. He poses no threat. He is fragile. Yet there was something in his gaze that unsettled her. A steady focus, a quiet awareness. He noticed details others overlooked. He seemed calm in the face of ceremony, as if he understood the importance of every gesture and word. The elders began the ritual. Words flowed in the old language of the Zalrith, full of rhythm and authority. Kale repeated each phrase with careful attention, and Lyra observed. He faltered once, mispronouncing a sound, but corrected himself without embarrassment. It was almost charming in a human way. Still, Lyra's mind wandered. She had fought battles where creatures stronger than humans had tried to overpower her. She had survived duels against warriors whose bodies were forged for combat, whose reflexes could rival her own. How could this human possibly matter in such a galaxy? The ceremony concluded. Lyra took a deep breath. She would play her part as the bride, she decided, but she would not let herself be fooled. She would protect the peace, yes, but Kale would not be a partner in battle. That was unnecessary. After the ceremony, the newlywed pair moved to a balcony overlooking the city of Veras. The alien city stretched below them, gleaming towers of silver and blue, lights reflecting off glass-like surfaces. Ships floated silently in the sky, their hulls glinting under twin suns. Lyra felt a rare sense of calm here, a pause between the chaos of war and the responsibilities ahead. Kale stood beside her, hands folded behind his back. "It is beautiful," he said softly. "The city, the people, everything feels alive." Lyra glanced at him. There was a simplicity in the way he observed, yet it was precise. She found herself intrigued despite herself. "You notice details others miss," she said. Kale smiled faintly. "It helps to pay attention when survival depends on it," he replied. Lyra arched an eyebrow. "Survival?" she asked, curious despite her doubts. "I've faced challenges," Kale said quietly. "Not like yours, perhaps, but enough to learn how to think ahead." She stared at him. "This human, perhaps he is not as weak as I believed." The thought was unsettling. She had never underestimated an opponent before. She did not plan to start now. Their conversation was interrupted by a messenger. The young Zalrith runner bowed deeply, extending a data crystal. "Urgent message from the fleet commanders," the runner said. Lyra took the crystal and her eyes scanned the projected images. A Theran raiding squad had been spotted near a border outpost. The Zalrith patrols were outnumbered. If the Theran reached the supply station, it could spark the very war they had just tried to prevent. "We must act," she said, her voice steady. Her instincts screamed danger. Kale's expression did not change. "Then let us not waste time," he said. Lyra felt a twinge of surprise. His calmness under threat was unusual. Humans, she thought, usually panicked in moments of real danger. Yet here he was, composed. She made a quick decision. "You will come with me," she said, already moving toward the city's command tower. "Stay close. Do not interfere unless instructed." Kyle followed without hesitation. He moved with quiet confidence, almost blending into the crowd. Yet she noticed the way his eyes scanned every approach, every exit, every potential threat. "He is more aware than he seems," she admitted silently. The command tower was a hive of activity. Holographic displays projected star charts, fleet positions, and enemy movements. Lyra quickly assessed the situation. The Theran raiders were small in number but fast and heavily armed. A direct confrontation could be dangerous. "Deploy scouts," she commanded. "We need to know their positions before we commit ships." Kyle leaned over the projection, studying the data. "Their movement is predictable," he said. "They rely on speed and surprise. If we cut off their approach and set a trap, we can minimize risk." Lyra's head snapped up. Predictable? Humans were not supposed to be so precise in military calculations. Yet he was already thinking tactically, combining logic with instinct. "Interesting," she said, masking her surprise. "Shall I assist with the deployment?" he asked, voice calm. She hesitated. Could she allow him to do more than observe? Then she nodded. "Very well, but follow my orders exactly." Together they coordinated the defense. Kale suggested strategic placements for patrol ships, ways to manipulate sensor scans to mislead the enemy, and even minor diversion tactics that could confuse the raiders long enough for Zalrith reinforcements to arrive. Each suggestion was practical, efficient, and effective. The raid began just as Kale predicted. Small ships streaked across the atmosphere, fast and menacing. Lyra felt her pulse quicken, but Kale's calm voice guided her. "Flank left. They expect a frontal approach now." Lyra followed his instructions. Ships moved as directed, cutting off the raiders and forcing them into a narrow corridor. The humans' technology may have been primitive, but Kale's mind was sharp, more precise than many Zalrith officers. The raiders panicked, struggling to navigate the trap. One by one they were neutralized, retreating in disarray. The threat ended before it could escalate into anything larger. Lyra exhaled, finally allowing herself to relax. She looked at Kale. He had barely broken a sweat. He smiled, modest, almost apologetic. "You did well," she said, almost reluctantly. "Better than I expected," Kale shrugged. "I did what I had to." "You led well, too." Her mind raced. She had thought humans were fragile, weak, and unpredictable. Yet here was one human, her human mate, who had demonstrated intelligence, calm, and strategy under real threat. He had not only survived but had contributed meaningfully to the defense. as the sun set over Veras, painting the sky in shades of orange and violet, Alara realized something profound. The human she had married to secure peace might be more than an ally in politics. He might be a force in ways no alien had imagined. She watched Kale quietly, wondering what other strengths lay hidden beneath his calm demeanor. And she sensed, deep down, that she had only just glimpsed the edge of his true power. Alara had believed she was in control. She had believed her human mate posed no threat. But as the stars began to twinkle above the city, she felt a stir of both awe and unease. The journey had only just begun.